I paid off $10,000 of debt in just 12 months, and I didn't have to give up everything to do it. Welcome to Salsa on My Finances, where I teach you how to reach financial freedom through my experiences and a little bit of research. So here's the story. Late last year, I was looking at my finances and I wasn't really happy with where I was financially in terms of the amount of debt that I owed. I make a decent salary, and I just still was in a place where I shouldn't have this much debt. So I sat down and I was like, I have to come up with a plan. And I came up with a pretty good one. So the debt that I had was 2 credit cards and a 401k loan that I originally took out to pay off one of the credit cards. I know, crazy work. So I was like, okay, let's get to this plan. Let's buckle down. Let's focus. And the tools that I use were absolutely free. So the game plan that I came up with has 4 pillars. First, we have create a budget. Next, we have snowball method. Then we have smart sacrifices. And finally, consistency. Let's look at pillar number 1, how I budgeted over the course of the year. Me personally, I budgeted twice a month. I get paid twice a month, but you can do this however you get paid, whether that's once a month, twice a month, or weekly. But the importance is you know your income versus your expenses. So as I calculated my numbers, my expendable cash came up to around $500 a month. This obviously grew as I paid off more and more debt, which leads me to the second pillar, the snowball method. So all that means is I paid off my smallest debt and worked my way up to my largest debt. And this just allowed me to see certain items get paid off a little quicker, and it just kept me motivated. This pillar goes hand in hand with the budget pillar. So after you create your budget spreadsheet, create a separate tab or another worksheet where you keep track of your smallest to largest debts. So as you can see here, I have my debts listed smallest to largest. First, you have the Target card, then my 401k loan, and then the Capital One card. I'm not really concerned about the car loan and student loans because those are out of reach for this year. So the total amount for the credit cards and the 401k loan came up to $9,729.77. That's about $10,000. And as you can see, I'm tracking that twice a month as well. Now this may be controversial for a lot of people in personal finance, but I continued to save money while I paid off my debt. Now moving on to the third pillar, make smart sacrifices. So for me, this meant not taking any extravagant trips, especially international. I also didn't really spend any extra money on clothes, shoes, furniture around the house, or any items that I didn't really need. I kept it really simple, that way I could stick to the plan. I think it's also important to note that if something came up and I absolutely had to spend money on, say, an expense or an emergency, I took care of that situation and paid what I could towards debt. So if you think about it, all of these smart sacrifices really helped me create a mindset shift to where I wouldn't go backwards and get back into debt. And last but not least, we have consistency. And the main thing here for me was to not become obsessed with debt repayment, but to remain vigilant and consistent so that I could reach my goal. So for instance, whenever I got paid, I would pay myself first in savings and then immediately pay off whichever debt that I was targeting. Another way I was consistent was tracking my numbers. I made sure to fill out my spreadsheets at least twice a month, and that way it kept me motivated seeing that number come down and the debts being paid off. So in conclusion, being fed up with my debt situation finally made me lock in and pay off what I needed to pay off in 12 months. So hopefully now you can see, paying off your debt is easier than you think, and it's more possible than you think. All you have to do is sit down, come up with a solid plan, and stick to it. It honestly feels like a huge weight off my shoulders. I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, and next year we'll focus on paying off that student loan and then the car loan. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like, maybe comment down below. Maybe there's a video suggestion that you want from me, any extra tips, or just share your experience of your debt repayment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.